In the African village of Bombo Lulu there lived a dog called Bosco. Bosco was a friendly dog who was loved by many. He frequented the local market where people would pet him and give him treats. One evening as Bosco was sleeping, he heard the rustling of leaves up above him. On looking up he saw a bat dangling on a tree branch. Suddenly the bat flew down to the ground close to where Bosco was. Curiously, Bosco got close to the bat, then the bat angrily attacked him and bit him close to his nose. Fearing another attack, Bosco ran away screeching in pain. For the next 2 days Bosco was pale and dull unlike the other days. Everyone noticed that Bosco was not himself, but nobody knew what the problem could have been. They tried giving him food and water, but he wasn't interested. The next day Bosco was up and about, but not in the normal way. He was manic and restless, moving all over. He was also very aggressive and furious. Excessive saliva was dripping, and he was foaming around the mouth. He became really violent and started to be aggressive towards everyone. Then he bit the leg of one of the locals who was standing nearby. Although they loved Bosco, the villagers had to call the animal control people to come capture him, as he was now wild and couldn't live among them. Later that night, the man who got bit by Bosco developed a severe fever and a killer headache. He was rushed to hospital. After a few hours he was foaming at the mouth as the dog did. He also exhibited anxiety, agitation and confusion. His doctor was perplexed as he had never seen anything like this. He had already given him the post-exposure prophylaxis vaccine to combat the rabies infection, but he had never seen a disease incubate so fast. Its effect was almost immediate. When the doctor got close to examine him, the patient attacked him and bit his neck. The doctor groaned in pain. The manic patient then ran outside the hospital and into the village. The doctor was now the patient. The nurse on the night shift saved him by stopping the bleeding from his bite wound. But before she could administer the PEP vaccine, the manic symptoms were already evident on the doctor. She was just about to give him the jab when he rose up violently and bit her on the neck. She screamed in pain and collapsed on the floor. The furious manic doctor then left the room and went into other rooms where patients and other staff were and started attacking and biting them, as a rabid dog would. After getting bit, a person would transform almost immediately and turn manic and in turn bite another person. Through this domino effect, the disease, in a short time, had affected all the people in the hospital. The next morning news about the disease had spread in the village. The infected people from the hospital now roamed all over, spreading the virus. The whole village turned chaotic. Even the children were not spared from this madness. Any contact with the saliva of the carrier made one a carrier too. The excessive saliva was a mechanism by the virus so that it could spread faster and reproduce more. The carriers were also excessively hydrophobic. Within no time, the carriers started to morph, become bony and dehydrated. They looked like a crossbreed between a vampire, a werewolf and a zombie. The severity of the situation in the village of Bombo Lulu reached the government officials in the city. In panic, the officials sent the military to deal with the menace by eliminating the carriers. The army came prepared with every form of artillery. Today it was coup finish, Kumarl O. When the soldiers got there, they started shooting and bombing about everywhere. They bombed the hospital as well as the market and the villagers' homes. But by now the carriers had multiplied and were everywhere. The soldiers were of no match. They got overwhelmed and they too got infected. The zombie people had to Nguka now. The virus spread like wildfire throughout the surrounding villages and soon it got into the big city. The disease caused chaos all over. The authorities sent more soldiers to contain the spread to no avail. Neighboring countries on hearing this closed their borders, but it was already too late. When the news reached the international community, they sent the best scientists to go study the virus. The World Health Organization immediately declared it a pandemic. The scientists found out that the strain was a mutant variant of rabies. It incubated extremely fast once in the host's body. They had never seen a virus work so super fast. They named it SFR-29. None of the vaccines they had could combat it. The disease had now spread throughout the continent. The elites decided to do the inevitable. They decided to send nuclear bombs to the god-forsaken continent. They mapped out the coordinates and sent nukes to every corner of the continent to ensure none of the zombie people remained alive. What a travesty! They did not know that they had opened a Pandora's box. Due to the nuclear fission reaction, the virus combined with radon and other gases from uranium, and it aerosolized. The virus hence became airborne. Within no time, the virus spread all over the world. And that's how the world turned into the underworld.